And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks! Do you like vacations? I like vacations. Of course, people in fantasy worlds have to take vacations too, and so that is what Epic Resort is. Actually, I think the Epic Resort lies in this kind of plane that has modern people come, but also fantasy people come. So you can go there and hang out with your favorite heroes. Maybe Drizzt will be there. Anyway, so in Epic Resort, you're trying to run the best resort you possibly can get, but you're going to be attacked by monsters, so you need heroes to defend you from that. This is a kind of deck building game, kind of card play. I don't know what kind of game it is. Here, let me show you. In this game, each person is going to be building their own resort. So down here you can see these are the starting two cards everyone has. They have a beach and a tiki hut. They also start with some people who are visiting both of them. There's two people on each of them. Now, you can have up to 3 of these sections in your spot, like maybe later on I'll add a Timberlane trail, or I'll replace the tiki hut with the Razorback roast. There's different things that you can add to each of these. But at the beginning of each turn, you're going to look at the box that's to the rightmost on your thing. So the empty box. So this means I'm going to get 2 money. I have 2 people here, so I have 2 money. If I had 3 people in it, I would get 3 money. You can't have more than 3 people. The last box always has to remain empty. If I had no one there, I would get no money. But then this is the attraction that this gives you. So the fewer people, the more attraction I'm going to get because, hey, if there's only one person on the beach, it's going to be more attractive to go to. You're going to keep track of both of those things over here on this track. Your gold you'll save from turn to turn, but your attraction only lasts for 1 turn, and you're going to use attraction to attract more tourists. Each player is going to start with a deck of cards. This deck is going to include 3 types of cards. You have apprentices, you have street performers, and you have lazy peons. Okay, and you're going to be using these people and maybe even training them as the game progresses so that they can become things like this bouncer or this trail master. Now at the beginning of each round, what players are going to do is they're going to, at the resort, they're going to have a handful of 5 cards from their own personal deck. And they're going to send these workers that they have out to work. You don't have to, but let's say I send 2 people here to the tiki hut, but I don't send anyone to the beach. Well, the tiki hut, if you notice here, has a 2 worker symbol at the bottom, so it needs 2 workers, so I'm fine there. The beach needs 1 worker. I didn't send one, so then 1 tourist goes away. If I had ignored the tiki hut completely, both of the people there. And so after you do that, you play these cards from your hands, but if you play them down here, you won't be able to use your special abilities. And as you can see, later on, some get better, like this Versatilist counts as 2, or this Guildmaster, he counts as 2 in 2 adjacent areas. But after you do that, you'll then adjust your tracks, and then players will start taking actions. One of the actions is to go to the harbor. Over here is a line of cards, and this line will the length of it varies based on how many players are in the game, and you're going to spend your attraction points. So you can attract, for example, this click here, which would bring in 3 tourists that you could spread throughout your place. If you're playing a 4-player game, this season pass holders are always there. But when you take the card, it's discarded. The season pass holders, you just put a lock token on to show that no one else can take that one. There's some, like here, these culture vultures, you get 1, but if you happen to have a part of your resort that offers culture, 2 more will show up. You can also get these heroes. Each part of your resort can house 1 hero. So if I get this berserker here, I can take him and put him in my resort. So let's say I put him in front of the tiki hut. And then he has 2 hit points here. You'll notice I put a heart on him. At the end of every turn, there he is, and there's the heart on him. At the end of every turn, I'm going to move that heart up 1. And when it gets to the end, at the end of that turn, I'll discard him into a victory point pile where he'll score that many victory points, 3 victory points. He also has some special abilities. Players will also be able to, on their turn, for actions, they'll be able to buy more resorts. There's different tiers that get more expensive. You can see here this Twilight Masquerade. Costs 11 here, but it can sure have a lot of tourists in it at the end. And they each have point values on them. This Twilight Masquerade is worth 4 points at the end of the game. You can also train some of the workers from your hand to be better workers, like this Bouncer or this Trail Master. Once everyone has passed, they're done taking actions, then you're going to need to refill any empty spots in the harbor, and in fact one of the cards always is discarded from the dock. And as you're flipping over these cards, sometimes you'll flip over a card that says attack, or in this case double attack. When that happens, you are going to draw the top card of this monster pile, which is separated by tiers, and that monster is going to attack somebody. Now this is Mischievous Spirit, attacks the resort with the most heroes. So that's how you decide who gets it. Some of them attack the resort with whoever has the Harbor Master. The first person to pass each turn goes first the next turn, but they're the Harbor Master, and so you might be attacked. Or they might attack the resort with the most tourists or the most gold. If they attack you, the attack card will show you on the card itself which spot they attack. So if you only have 2 places, they attack the one that's to the most rightmost, and if you have 3, they attack the third one. If there's nobody there, they will cause damage. And if it takes too much damage, that part of your resort can be destroyed. If there are tourists there, they're going to eat tourists equal to the number on their card. If there's a hero there, you can choose to either have that hero run away like a coward, or that hero can stay there, lose 1 life point, and maybe fight them off and get rid of the monster for you. So once you've done that, you've resolved all attacks and you've refilled the dock, then the next round begins. When the monster deck is completely depleted, then players are going to do final scoring, which is going to be simply the cards you have in your resort plus any heroes that you have scored over the course of the game. And whoever has most points is the winner. Now, Epic Resort is a game that I really wanted to like. I love the artwork in this game. It's really good. I love the theme of this game, and I love the mechanisms in theory. In practice, there's a few problems with the game. First of all, the scoring at the end was so boring that I was just almost mind-boggled how boring it was. In the sense that you add up your resorts, you add up heroes, almost everybody had equal scores because almost everyone builds their resorts up, and then so whoever gets the most heroes is kind of lucked out and they win the game. And scores were very close. There wasn't multiple strategies, and it wasn't like build this one which is worth a lot of points but it's not very useful during the game. No, the best ones also were the most points, so it just was an obvious, straightforward thing. The deck building part was fine. I like that. I love the fact that you have this lazy peon who you can throw to a monster when the monster attacks and he doesn't bother you at all. But monsters attacking, I think that's a cool concept. But the monsters attack and attack and attack and attack and attack and attack, and it becomes so wearisome. And I think the biggest problem with Epic Resort is that the game simply lasts too many rounds. It just goes on and on and on and on, and it's not really different from round to round, other than, oh, I've upgraded my resort so I can fit a few more people in. So I never felt much of a sense of progression, especially when I got my resort pretty much pumped to where I want it to be, and yet we still had to keep playing. I don't mind the ideas in the game. The ideas of having tourists and monsters coming and eating them and heroes fighting them off. It's a cool one in theory, but the heroes was more like shuffling some cards around and moving tokens on them, and it's better to score them, let people die. They weren't very heroic, and you didn't lose points for letting people die. The worst that would happen is your building might take some damage, and you don't want that to happen too many times in a row. But you would stop that by sticking tourists there. So I never felt any kind of urgency, but it felt kind of annoying. It's like, another monster attacks. I mean, when you look through this dock deck, and you can't see it here, but there's a lot of monster attack cards in here. A lot of them, and they're going to show up pretty much every time you refill the dock. And sometimes you're forced to pass because you have no other action to take, so you have to take the Harbor Master first, and you might not be doing very well in the game, and it's not very fun then for the monster to attack you because you were forced to pass first. Great components, great ideas. it just doesn't gel. It feels like it could have used some more ideas in it. I so much wanted this game to be good, folks, because it sounded cool, but it's just not one I thought was very interesting. It was interesting, the ideas, but once you played the game, you're like, wow, this game played out. In my very first game to my second game, I don't know that I made any different decisions. It felt the same. Maybe I hunted for heroes more the second time through, but I just got bored and weary each time. So, Epic Resort, not for me.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.